Hello, today I'm going to describe a few of the things that I have been doing to try and make pretty looking Minecraft maps, a bit like this example that you see before us. By the end of the video I will have shown you how to build this one. It's maybe not a particularly beautiful map, but it kind of shows some of the elements that are nice to put together, and I will show you how I got that map out of Minecraft itself and into the image editing programs. Okay, part one, capturing the screenshots of the maps in the first place. So there's a few things I'm going to take into account here. One of them is lighting. So if I show you, if I put some item frames here, we're going to be using item frames and putting maps onto the walls in item frames because it's much better for. Like if we can take screenshots of this map, but it's got the crosshairs over it, and like you can hide the UI, and then the map disappears. And I think you can turn off the crosshairs as well. But like, we're going to use item frames because it feels a bit more reproducible and cleaner. But do let me know if you have any better ideas of how to do any of this. Lighting. We're going to need a strong lighting source immediately adjacent to this because if you see. If we do not have a sufficiently close lighting source, you can see there's a discontinuity of the blue from one to the other. It's only if when we stitch what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our separate maps and stitch them together, and we want them all to be the same color. So like to have no discontinuities. So the way that we're going to achieve that is by making sure that we have a light source immediately adjacent to our maps. We're going to take screenshots of them one at you can obviously make lots of item frames and put all of your maps together, and then take one big screenshot of it. It is there's no reason not to do that. I just find it a bit harder to kind of line things up and make sure that I've actually got everything. So I'm just going to do this with one at a time. So here is one of our source maps. You are going to have to do this in multiple locations if you want to get rid of the green markers. Again, if you know a way to avoid that, I don't know, but like basically what I'll do is we'll do the same setup of this kind of like cartography room somewhere off of this map in order to handle this one, because you can see like the next map over does not have that problem. Anyway, that's a lot of babbling here. So we want to get a nice clean screenshot that is easy to extract and stitch together. So for the first thing to worry about is being squarely lined up. Like if I'm just looking roughly at it, it's not perfectly square on the screen. It's an uneven quadrilateral. So to make sure, we're also going to line ourselves up in a corner here, just to be reproducible. If we take many of these and want to process the screenshots automatically or something, I don't know, we might do. I'm going to bring up the debug view, and it shows here facing south towards positive Z, somewhere in the middle of the screen there, and you can see it's got two numbers next to it. Right, we'll start that over again. Hold on. Right, sorry about that, I knocked down my green screen. Picking up where we left off, if we put on the debug view and we're lined up in this corner here, we're going to try and get those numbers in the middle, the facing numbers, to be perfectly zero. I should say as well, even when they are perfectly zero, it doesn't necessarily. There's more than one kind of pixels worth where they can be zero, but it should be good enough for reproducibility. Right, okay, so they're perfectly zero. I'm going to press F3 to turn that back off again, F1 to turn off the UI, and F2 to take my screenshot. We'll put this back on again. I'm going to do the other map as well in the same way. F3, line it up. I'm sure there's some way to line this up without doing this, but I could not figure it out. I thought maybe like setting up a minecart and getting into the minecart, but that doesn't reset your up-down pitch. So I'm not sure. Again, answers in a postcard, please. Right, so I'm gonna press F1 to turn off the UI, F2 to take a screenshot, F1 to bring it back again. Right, that's the capture part done. We're going to go to an image editing program next. I'm going to use GIMP for this. Okay, here we are in GIMP. Let's go and let's check make sure my mouse sensitivity is set properly. I'm going to open from the Minecraft screenshots folder. It is. Yep, let's start with this one. Right now, so we can zoom in a bit, and we can see there are some things to bear in mind here. If you're taking partial maps, like so your map is not completely filled in, you will notice that there's this kind of checkerboard pattern. It's a bit faint, you might not be able to see it very clearly there, that fills in all of the transparent areas. And you'll see it's slightly in front of, slightly larger than the item frame. So if we zoom in really close here, we can see that it's actually got like an extra pixel there. Let me draw the box there. So we're going to draw the box to include that, because that is like these boxes, each one of them is 1 pixel on that. So we're going to draw a box. We're going to make sure that it includes that entire area. Hopefully it should be perfectly square on the screen. Our previous steps should have assured that. So again, it's around the checkered box, not around the kind of beige item frame. Of course, if your map is full, then it will just be like the pixels of the map in the corner. Okay, I think that's good. We're going to do so. The way the reason this is going to work is that we know that every Minecraft map is exactly 128 by 128 pixels. So I'm going to do crop to selection. I'm going to do do I want to do scale image yet? Yeah, we'll do the scale image. We'll probably get some artifacts around the pointer, but we'll not worry about that too much. I'm going to resize to exactly 128 by 128 pixels, and we're going to select none to be like no interpolation whatsoever. We don't want any blurriness. We just want the value in the middle pixel in each resize pixel area. Trust me, it makes sense. Right? Okay. This is now like our map is good. It is one pixel to 1 pixel. That's what we want. However, we've still got the background here. And again, depending on how it's a bit ugly, you don't want to keep it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the color selector tool, and I'm just going to hold down shift and just keep selecting colors in this area until I have selected, because there's only a few colors of item frame pixels here, and a few colors of them affected by the what do you call it? Actually, there's quite. We'll worry about the edge separately. So we can get all of these. That's got a pretty good looking selection. It's just missing some around here. We're missing some pixels along the bottom here. Yeah, that's fine. Any others here? Yeah, quite a lot. We're only getting one at a time there. That must have. Yeah, I think the item frame is lit as a single level of brightness, like the whole thing, whereas the wall gets smooth shading. Actually, we could probably turn that off in the Minecraft graphics settings. That might actually make this a bit simpler. At this point, it might actually be easier to manually select the pixels here. I'm just going to keep using the color selector tool. I've set it to threshold 0 because I don't want it to get any similar pixels. I want to be. I'm pretty confident. I'm not sure about the pixels of the wall there, but I am confident that the pixels of the item frame do not share any colors with the actual content of the map. So that's selected all those pixels. We'll hit delete, and now we've got a beautiful transparent image here. Is that a pixel? Definitely not part of the item frame. Yeah, I think that is not part of the item frame. Okay, cool. Right, we're gonna do the same. We'll save this in a second. Actually, I might not save it. I'm going to open the other one here and do the same deal. So we're going to do rectangular select, starting from the corner there. Zoom in to get it exact. Cool. I think that was good. Oh, not quite. Good thing we caught that. Now if we do image, cropped selection, image, scale image, 1, 2, 8, interpolation none, scale, great. Yeah, I'm gonna use the rectangular select to get the walls in the bottom right there. Just because that didn't work because I didn't have anything. I had everything selected. We'll get them, and then we will add in, holding down Shift again. Just keep clicking on these areas until we've gotten everything. I feel like that this stage could probably be automated in ImageMagick or something like that. But it's not. It's super onerous, so I'm not that worried at the moment. Okay, we have 2 of these now. What slide in it? Right. Let's staple them together. So our total canvas is just going to be 2 of them for now. Create a new image, and we're going to say it's going to be 256 by 128. Okay. And oh, we did not make it have an alpha channel, so I'm going to add an alpha channel and delete the content there. So slightly tricky thing I'm thinking about here is how do we make sure. So let me go to the grid. Not to grid, configure grid. Where do you configure grids? Show grid. Preferences? I feel like it can't be in preferences. I feel like it must be in default image grid. That must mean that there is an image grid. Configure grid. That's what I'm looking for. Right. I want this to be set to some big power of 2. 64 by 64. Yeah, cool. Right, now when I paste this in, I should be able to get the top right corner will snap to that. That's good. If you didn't have a corner, then you might have to faff around a bit more. We've got corners in both of these that will easily snap. Okay, that is us got our complete image there. I'm going to scale this to about 4 times the size, I think. The reason for this is that it's not easy to tell Inkscape don't interpolate, and it just looks horrible and mushy if it rescales the pixels. So we're going to do this to 400%. Yeah, so 1024 by 512. That sounds fine. Again, no interpolation. I'm going to copy that. And now our final step is final steps are all going to be in Inkscape. Right, here I have a beautiful blank document. All I've done here is I created 5 layers, and the background layer I've got just a brown background. I'm going to paste the map into the map layer. Let's be precise about scaling this. Let's go to scale, and we'll take it to 50%. I want to be precise about how much I'm scaling, because if I want to add more map elements, I want to make sure they're all exactly the same size. Although there's other ways to do that, but this will do for us fine. So I want a few effects on this. First of all, I would like a drop shadow on the layer because I might end up with multiple elements making up the map in this layer. I'm going to go to filters, go into shadows and glows, drop shadow. We'll just make it black. We'll do a live preview. Looks okay, but I want it bigger, bloodier than that. I don't think I want it quite as bold as that. Oh, it doesn't refresh the live preview for some reason when you change the color settings. Don't know why. That's not bad. I might make it a little bit bigger again. And I'll give it more of a vertical offset. Okay, it's a bit below. Okay, that's good enough. I'm not gonna fuss about it too much. Alright, and I also want to. I'm going to do this a few times. I'm going to let me save it. I'm going to go into the XML editor, and I'm going to move the filters from. So the blur is a filter. It has been applied to our SVG to this embedded bitmap here, and it's in style. It's this bit filter blah blah blah. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to go to the layer that contains it, because there's no way to do this in the UI. So you need to apply this directly to the XML. I'm going to do style, get the extra semicolon, and set that on a layer. You see it's gotten doubly dark because we're applying it twice, and I'll just take it off of this as well. So I'll delete that and set that. The reason this is nice is we can have multiple things in this layer, and they will all be affected by the same filter. So if we like have that is it's an annoying color. We don't want it the same color. Let's grab the color of the ocean. This is something we might actually do on purpose. It is. Did it go into the wrong layer? Is that what happened there? What layer are we even on? This is in BG, this is in map. Okay, I want to move this up a layer. Move to layer, map. Okay, there you can see now they both share the one shadow. They're not like casting shadows onto each other. They are part of the same layer, and that entire layer casts a shadow. So what we might end up doing in some cases is filling in bits of the map with solid colors, and that's one way that we can do it. We can also do that in GIMP before we bring it into here. Right, that was the first effect that I wanted to put onto the map. I want to do the same for text, so I'm going to put some text labels onto this. So for that, I'm going to go to the text layer. I'm going to do. Now, is this going to work? I have a terrible feeling that I can pick the font here and then it'll ignore it anyway. Right, let's. Yeah, that looks good. West Ocean. We're going to just make that white and put it over here. Oops, holding down Control to make sure that I scale linearly. And I'm gonna have. We'll call this South Forest. Maybe Southern Forest, whatever. For I can't spell. And maybe we'll have its house. We will center that. Right, so this text is not very readable because it blurs into the background. So what we're going to do is the same deal. We're going to have slightly different settings for our drop shadow though. So we're going to go to filters, shadows and glows, drop shadow, turn on live preview. We want a very, very small blur radius. We want a very small vertical radius, vertical offset. No, that did not mean to edit that there. Can we zoom in while we're doing this? No, it won't let us. Let's make sure that our blur is as dark as possible. We still can't see it terribly well. That's definitely too big. It's better. It's not great. Yeah, those settings are okay. Right, I still don't like this. I'm going to go and mess around with the filter. But I'm not going to bother explaining how this works. It's convoluted. Figure it out in your own time. I intend to cheat this. I'm gonna duplicate the Gaussian blur. So I'm gonna do 2 Gaussian blurs, but that's not going to achieve very much. I'm going to add in. I think component transfer is probably the easiest way to do this. In between the Gaussian blurs, and I'm going to have it mess around with the alpha level. Right, this one needs to feed from that. Right. So what I'm doing here is, like, you can only make the shadow so dark and so big with the default filter that it gives you, because what it's doing is, in order to create a drop shadow, it's taking a solid fill of the shadow color, which is black. It is compositing it onto the source graphic, which is like our text, with the in operator, which basically just means fill in everything that is there with solid black. So it takes our text and makes a copy of it that's solid black. It does a Gaussian blur to expand it and blur it a bit. Before we added stuff here, it then offsets it downwards a tiny bit. I think the offset is, the offset's set very small. We can set it a bit bigger, and you can see like it's charging down the page there. I think I'm going to set it about let's try 0.3. 0.25. Yeah, I like that. But the problem is, like, when you set the Gaussian blur quite high, it diffuses the depth of the color a lot. It can't be particularly dark because it is so diffuse. So what I'm doing is I'm using component transfer here to modify the alpha channel and just making it more extreme. So taking that diffuse shadow and then just like darkening it up a bit and then re-blurring it out again. So yeah, I think we still want it to be tighter than that. So might change. Oops. It defaults to enormous steps here. So let's set both of these Gaussian blurs to be 0.1 and see what we get. That's possibly too dark now. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, that's about what I was going for in the first place. We'll stop fussing with it there. You've got the idea by now. It is, however, not a terribly fast filter to apply. We can also, well, we're just editing. You can do display mode, no filters, to turn off all the filters and have it edit faster and more conveniently, and then put the display mode back to filters back to normal when you want it to be super pretty. I'm going to do the same trick. I'm going to move that filter up to the level of the what's the word? Layer. So where are we? We've selected here a Netshouse text. I assume that's the Netshouse. Somewhere in here you can see, there's the text of it, and on it you can see it's got a style property. the style property's got a ton of stuff on it, but we only care about the filter. So we're going to cut that from there. It vanishes, and we're going to go up to the text layer. It doesn't have a style attribute, so we're going to add a style attribute with a value of that filter. Set it, and there we go. We have nice. Maybe it is a bit too crisp. Maybe it is too dark. I'm not going to fuss with it. I will fuss with it for ages. But not on stream. Right, that's almost everything that I wanted to do. So we can also put in I'm going to put in markers on this layer. So just put in a little circle marker. I'm going to give it a stroke that is white and a fill that is grey. I'm going to I'll do. I'm going to use that for, well, there's a big green blob in the way, but the idea is like we would use these markers to show like small things here as opposed to big things. I also wanted to make them a bit prettier here. I want to curve this text. So what I'm going to do, I have already created a layer specifically for this. I'm going to create a curve with a bezier here. I'm going to make it look pretty, but it's pretty irrelevant. Just make it red, and remove its fill. We can fuss around with it a bit in a minute. We're going to select the text. We're going to select the line, and we're going to text put on path. It is that easy, except it's not quite that easy because like our path hasn't actually, all of our text isn't here. So we're going to need to select this and resize it. We can adjust the curve there. I think also I would quite like the text style to be a bit more spaced out. We can do that by increasing the character spacing. That's maybe a bit high. Let's go for 1.5 and continue editing the curve here. That looks not bad to me. We can now. What I'm going to do is I think hopefully the curve is on the curves layer. Yeah, the curve is on the curves layer, so I'm just going to leave the curves layer locked and invisible. But we can, when we want to edit it, we can unhide that layer. Were there any other? Oh right, the other important thing that I wanted to do. You can't just leave it like this. It looks fine. What I had been doing on my other maps though was trying to put a sort of a shroud over the unexplored areas. So the way that I'm doing that is I'm going to put a fog layer here. Fog layer is going to be, again, like this is going to be pretty slow to edit in the end, but we're just going to put a few of these in here. Put a shape here, fill it solid black, fill black, no stroke. We are going to do another filter, filter blurs. What do I want here? Blur, presumably. In my preview, it looks okay. It looks that, yeah. We shall. What does blur content only do? Oh, I think I see what it does. Okay. You'll see it's clipped off a bit there. That will actually, I think that might be a viewing artifact. We can sort that out later. But it's not going to matter that much because we're going to put this blur onto the layer in a second. I'm going to put in some more shapes here for blurring this out. You can imagine how we put the rest of them on there. Same deal. We go into, let me see before I mess this up too much. Go into the XML editor. Go into which one? That's curves, text, fog. One of these. You have a filter. The reason it's clipped off at the sides here is one of the properties of the filter is how much larger the filter area should be than the object itself, and it's just like a multiplier on top of the object. There's slightly fiddly maths and arithmetic in there, but it's okay. So if when we move it onto the layer, because the layer's got more stuff, it will have a bigger boundary, and it's less likely to be a problem. But if it is a problem, we can also customize it to say like, no, actually I wanted to go this further, because like the SVG file or Inkscape itself doesn't really know what all of the filter effects that we're applying do. So it doesn't really know how much bigger it has to make it to include all of the blurred area. But we can, as I said, we can sort that out. We're going to go to style here. We're going to copy. We're going to cut that off. Set that to reset it. I'm going to style here. Paste that in. Take out the semicolon. There, and it's applied it to the whole layer. And you can see there, like the artifact's already gone because it has pushed out the boundaries enough to the sides. It's my glass. It's just my glasses that are dirt. My glasses are dirty. That's why it looks grey to me. I think it is actually black. So that gives us a nice way to have a sort of a shroud there. We can continue to edit it with moving these points, adding more in. I'm going to one thing we can do here. Bigger. I'm going to. Oh, how do I set up a opacity for a layer? Right, I can set the opacity of the layer to a lower level so it's easier to see what we're working with here, and then we can set it back up when we are done. If we want, so what we can do is, for example, I might try and make that pretty close to that boundary, and then fill. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Then fill in the. No, don't make it a. And then you'll see that the enders. No, don't do that. Just don't snap anything. No snapping. Snapping turned off. You will see when we put the opacity back up to. I'll try to put it up to 100. You can see that boundary there, but then we can go and fill it in with shapes or stuff like that to put in like a bit of the similar colors nearby. I don't know. At this point, it's really fussing over nothing. So what so for now, I'm just gonna pull those in so that you can't really see the area that's outside of the map there. And create one more shape here. We could do this all as one shape as well. There's no. I just felt it was a bit easier to deal with multiple manageable shapes than anything else. So with this, it doesn't really matter what we've put in the background, or indeed that we put the nice drop shadow on that. I don't know why I bothered with that when I was going to do this anyway. I'm just combining too many different things in one video. We want. Oh, this is why you want to have more than one of these, is to be able to fill in interior shapes. I mean, you can have one shape that's got one object that has multiple paths in it. But extra fuss. Can we move that? Okay. Multi-select these. Fussing. All I'm doing is fussing. Right, that is my method for making Minecraft maps. I think I should probably stop now. There were a few. I think there were a few interesting things in there. The capturing, how to capture the screenshot, how to remove the transparent bits. Although again, they didn't really matter because we covered them up. But you've got options there as you're putting it together, and how to do the drop shadows and the curved text as well, I guess. Yeah, this video's been far too long. I hope I can edit it down. Right, thank you for watching.